New York appeals court reduces Trump's bond in his civil fraud case to $175 million, a victory for the former president. They also gave him an additional 10 days to post the bond. I'm going to pause there and make sure we don't lose sight of what's happening. It is a small victory in this battle, and it is a major loss. Trump shouldn't have to pay any bond. He shouldn't have to give any money. And what the government here is pulling off is a big ask. They slam Trump with the most absurd amount of money in a fine in history. These bonds don't exist. Then when everyone's shocked, they go, okay, fine. How about 175 million? And now we're supposed to go, oh, okay, great. Yes, you get him. Trump's winning. No, it should be $0. The charges are ridiculous. It was a summary judgment. The New York Times lied about this in their story about the bond. They wrote, in a months-long trial, the judge said this or that. No. See, they're conflating what was actually going on. The judge ruled summarily that Trump committed fraud. And then,
verdict first, evidence never.
Yep. And then they did a different hearing on whether they said that it was fraud. Trump did commit fraud, but did he alter documents? Now we'll have a trial to make that determination and how much money he has to pay. So in that trial, by giving the summary judgment, Trump was not allowed to say he did not commit fraud, and his lenders were not allowed to say that Trump did not commit fraud.
Yeah, and Gorin had, as you say, a summary decision, and this is an attempt by the political courts in New York. They are political. And you're typically a judge there because you've been selected or elected as a Democrat for the most part. And this is an attempt to kind of pull back a little bit because of the public outrage. You're right. It is not exactly the sort of victory we would want in light of the abuse of Trump. But it is a major slap at Engoron and Letitia James, who were willing to seize a man's private property based on based on this $440 billion, whatever the number was, $500 million. And the court just said, in addition to that, you're not seizing anything.
But Trump has, New York Times estimates $350 million cash on hand personally. And then I think his presidential campaign is between like around 50 million or something, 40 something.
Right.
To take $175 million
off the table. I know.
Right. So I don't want to fall into that trap where we're like, yes, no. They intentionally threw out a number they knew would get struck down and reduced to a massive number that would be deemed accessible.
And what's the basis acceptable for this number? What
exactly?
What is it? Does it sound better than 464 million? Is that the legal standard? They're making it up as they go along. They're trying to keep Trump off the ballot, out of the election. And this isn't even about clean elections. The left has now decided they don't want elections.
Yep.
And when you try to jail your number one candidate or remove his name from the ballot, that's something Putin would recognize, the dictator in China would recognize, and it's going on up in New York City. Now there's going to be the Bragg trial, the crazy trial over the Stormy Daniels stuff. That's going to be 3 weeks.
Yeah. God, that's actually going to.
Well, Letitia James' office, after this victory, so to speak, came out. Her office released a statement saying, well, Trump is still being held accountable for their crimes. She's not even that upset about it, which should tell you that this is really not a victory for Trump.
And the process is the punishment too.
Yeah. The only way this is a victory is if there was some kind of slapdown of Letitia James so badly, and possibly charges against her for fraudulently prosecuting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only way where you could be like, that's a victory, because if there isn't consequences for this kind of corruption, then it's only saying, hey, the corruption is actually acceptable.